So have you ever set a goal that you really wanted but just struggled to stick to it? Like no matter how much you wanted this goal, it didn't matter. And I have struggled with that so many times because I really love to set really large goals for myself, and sometimes it gets really difficult to actually come up with a system to stick to it day after day. Well, just recently I discovered this amazing tool that has made a massive difference in my ability to stick to these goals and keep working to them day after day. And that tool has been the Eisenhower Matrix. So today I'm going to talk to you about how to use the Eisenhower Matrix to really help you work towards your goals, and also a little bit about what the Eisenhower Matrix is. So hey everyone, if you're new here, my name is Eli and I'm a marine biologist located on the small island of Utila near Honduras. And on this channel, I talk about all things that help you build a career in marine science. So today I'm talking about the Eisenhower Matrix, which can help you build a career in marine science, but can also help you in so many other areas of your life and also building a career in other industries. So what is the Eisenhower Matrix? It's basically a decision-making tool to help you characterize things by urgency and importance, to help you understand the things that need to be done right now versus the things that really should not hold your attention for much longer than a few seconds today. So how does this actually work? The Eisenhower Matrix is really divided into 4 different quadrants. Things on the left are urgent, while things on the right are not urgent, and then things on the top are important, while things on the bottom are not important. So this creates 4 unique categories that I'm going to talk more about in a few minutes. So now let's talk about how to actually organize your tasks according to each of these quadrants. And I'll talk to you a little bit about my decision-making process and how I do this as well. So in that first category on the top left of the Eisenhower Matrix, that is the do or reduce quadrant. That is the things that are most urgent and most important. So they are the things that you should really do first. So these are the things with clear deadlines and that have a very significant consequence, hence them being very urgent and also very important. So this could be something like a project deadline or something that you're gonna really get in trouble if you don't get it done within the same morning or within the same day. These are usually the largest projects of the day that really need to get done. If a project takes a bit longer than a day, but it's still pretty urgent and pretty important, I like to break this project into 2 or 3 different parts, maybe even more. And then I like to put just one of those parts within my urgent important category so that I can then place the other parts of that project into category 2, which I'm now going to talk about. So category 2 is the things that are not so urgent, but they are still very important. So this quadrant is known as the schedule category. So for these tasks, they don't necessarily have a close or a very clear deadline, but they are very important to keep bringing you or your company to your long-term goals. So for me, these are some of the larger projects that I have. Like the creation of this video is something that doesn't have a very urgent deadline, but is always quite important for me to do on a regular basis. So usually I'll put parts of the video creation process into my second quadrant of the Eisenhower Matrix to make sure that I schedule my filming or my editing into my schedule for the next week or so. So in order to take full advantage of this section, it's really important that when you place something in the second category to immediately place it in your calendar to make sure that it gets done at a specific time, and really take a lot of time to figure out where it's going to work within your schedule, and don't just kind of toss it into your calendar at a later point in time. It's important to think very critically about when it makes the most sense for things in that category to get done, because they are obviously important as well. This can definitely be really difficult though, and I sometimes really struggle to put everything in that category into my calendar in the future. So sometimes some things in that category lay for a little bit unscheduled, but I'll eventually just pull them over to my urgent important category. So that's another way you can use it. Although I know the most useful way to make use of that quadrant is to make sure that you schedule it so you know when you are going to pull it into the urgent important category of the Eisenhower Matrix. So now the third quadrant of the Eisenhower Matrix, these are things that are urgent, but they are not important. So this is an important thing to distinguish because sometimes when things are urgent, they all feel important, but you have to really think critically about what things need to be pulled from the top down into quadrant 3. So these are tasks that really need to get done, but don't always need your expertise in order to be completed, or they don't take a lot of energy in order to be completed. So this quadrant is known as the Delegate Quadrant, and for someone like me that doesn't work with a huge team, this was a little bit tricky for me to figure out, and I kind of treated it a little bit differently than how some people do. But it is typically used as a quadrant where if a task doesn't necessarily need your expertise, you send this task over to someone else, or ask someone else to do it, or ask someone else to help you with it. This is a really useful tool for a supervisor or someone that has a big team below them, or even I guess someone on a really big team to help them accomplish goals a lot quicker. I could definitely use a little bit more work in getting better at this category too, in figuring out how to best, I guess, utilize my team at work and my colleagues. But I often also treat this category as some of the things that do need to get done within the day, but don't take that much energy for me to do. So things like emails, I'll usually place in this category, which after my big projects are done, I can move on to these smaller tasks like emails, things that take a lot less energy for me to do, but still need to get done within the day. I also put things like all of my social media things. That is one of my roles at my job. I'm the social media coordinator as well as marine biologist. So I will put things like updating our stories, responding all the comments and DMs, and things like that that really take just a few minutes to do, but really should be done within the same day. I put them in that category to eventually get to, when I finished my quadrant run, the urgent and important tasks. So then talking about the last category, this is the not urgent, not important category, or the declutter or delete category of the Eisenhower Matrix. So these tasks are the ones that really distract you from your preferred course and don't really help you attain any of your measurable goals. This takes a lot of self-discipline and understanding of your goals to really understand what goes into this category, because a lot of times when you're writing out your to-do list, everything feels urgent, everything feels important. So I often like to deal with this category last, because I'm personally really bad at thinking things are not urgent or not important, because I have a tendency to pull everything into the other categories because everything feels important. So after I have basically delegated everything into the other 3 categories, I'll go through and really think critically about my to-do list and understand what things don't need to get done today and things that don't really matter. You really have to be self-disciplined and be real with your to-do list and what might have slipped in there that doesn't really need to get done, but is really just a distraction. So this is a useful tool to really declutter your to-do list and figure out what you don't need to do today. I often still like to keep things in there for a little bit, because sometimes those tasks in the declutter category can or should slip into other categories when they do become urgent or important. So I usually like to keep this list intact, so at a later point I can just drag it over to the other columns to bring it back to my attention. So that is the Eisenhower Matrix. I really hope that you found this valuable. It has been so extremely valuable for me in the last month. I've been using it so much. I've also been using it on Notion. Notion is a super cool productivity tool that just makes so many things so much easier. So I can link below the template I've been using for my Eisenhower Matrix. It's been really amazing, and you should definitely try it out if you haven't tried out Notion yet. But I will link that template below. But otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope you liked it. Otherwise, again, I will see you in the next video.